the first time in 5 years. But also, yes, Jerry Jones wants more. And so his first big move was to fire offensive coordinator Scott Linehan. Reports point to quarterback coach Kellen Moore taking over as OC, with Jason Garrett in line to call plays. Jerry made it clear that he likes the guys in-house more than any other candidates. Stink, what was your reaction to all the moves?
Well, my reaction was, first off, right off the bat, like when they asked Andy Reid about his defensive coordinator, what did Andy Reid say? Hey, man, I don't answer those questions. I don't talk about firing and hiring people. I'm going to evaluate. And the next day, he fired Bob Sutton, okay? They got done with their season and asked their head coach about his coaching staff and said, hey, we're good, man. Everything is good here. Like every day.
After making significant changes last year and changing offensive line coach during the season.
Yep. Everything is good here. And then, what, 2 days later, all of a sudden, Jerry got in his ear and Scott Linehan's gone when Dak Prescott essentially had his second best season statistically and continued to progress in a more pro-style situation once they got Amari Cooper. So, I mean, obviously, this is my biggest issue, and the reason I don't think the Cowboys are ever really going to win anything under Jerry Jones, it's because you don't ever empower your coach. I mean, come on. Jason Garrett isn't empowered.
Yeah, it's the toughest head coaching job in the NFL.
Yeah, of course, it's one of the most high profile, and you get all you get the money and the stadium, and you're the Dallas Cowboys and America's team and this, that, and the other. But when you consistently come and emasculate your coach after he has said, hey, man, it's my team, I'm keeping my coaches, and 2 days later you got to fire people? There's not a player in that locker room that doesn't understand
who's in charge.
Right, that he is not in charge. And the issue with that is, especially when you have access to the owner. There's a lot of organizations you don't really have as a player access to the owner. You got a back staircase up to Jerry Jones's office if you need to talk to him. And you roll up there as a player, and you can circumvent the coach's authority. And so I just think the structure of the organization is such that when push comes to shove, you're going to have a really tough time winning anything significant in Dallas because of the way they don't ever. Hey, if you're not going to empower Bill Parcells, hell, you ain't empowering anybody to be your head coach.
How does that affect, Nick, the team, or how they play, or how that turns into wins or losses?
Well, I think that you need a singular voice. I shouldn't say you need. It's best to have a singular voice within an organization. Whether that is the owner, the team president, the coach. Very rarely have I seen it be successful where it's the owner. I can't think of an instance where the owner was the singular team voice. And we talk about this all the time when there is a power struggle within it's usually GM and coach, that you don't know who actually is making the decisions. You need to know who do the players go to, who does the coach go to, who does the GM go to. And the problem in Dallas that you're talking about is the GM is the owner, and the GM is the owner who's also kind of anointed himself assistant coach. And so, which is one of the reasons we hear about his commentary about the X's and O's of football in his radio interviews, that some of which make sense, some of which don't. And
we run sound bites from the owner more than the head coach.
Absolutely. Here is my bigger issue, though, with Dallas and what they've done since the end of the season, because I thought they might move on from Scott Linehan despite what Jason Garrett had said. Nobody knows if Jon Kitna is going to do a good job. Jon Kitna has had 3 high school jobs, was going to coach in a different league. So anyone that's saying, I know he's going to do great or do terrible, is making it up. Kellen Moore, additionally, has been a quarterback coach for a year. We don't know. But it's very unlikely to me that the very best people for Dak Prescott also happen to be 2 people who are former Dallas Cowboy backup quarterbacks. It's just unlikely to me that the best person, it's like when a guy gives a company to his son, or his daughter, is the best person in the whole world to be the CEO really one of your kids, or is it just someone who you know and feel comfortable with? Is the best person for the Dallas Cowboys someone, like Jerry's talking about, in the building, or that we have comfort with because they've been in the building before? Or if you are going to move on from Linehan, could you use a fresh voice, a fresh perspective, someone that hasn't been there? That, to me, is the concerning point, even though I am not going to be biased against Jon Kitna or Kellen Moore, because we haven't seen what they can and can't do at this level.
Well, one thing I'll say about football right now, football is changing. And it's very, very diverse in what they're trying to do, how they're trying to attack. They're looking at high school football, looking at college football. And for me, having two people that have played in the NFL, Jon Kitna, I know more than Kellen Moore, and I respect what his football IQ is. But, man, we got people coming from nowhere. I mean, Belichick, if he gets someone from Belichick, got his son coaching the secondary. Now, how in the hell he know about defensive backs? So there's a lot of coaches out there, how they get there and how they're equipped. I'm not going to be the person to sit on television and be like, oh, this guy is good and this guy's not going to be good. But when you've played in the NFL, and we've seen that in the last couple years with Frank Reich and Doug Peterson, they didn't have to play at a high level. But they've been around the NFL. They know things. They know how the game is won, how the ball can be advanced down the field. Those type of things I respect. Kellen Moore, he don't got no great talent. That little raggedy little left arm that he's got, he'd have to be smart to play any time in the NFL. Jon Kitna is a self-made football player. I covered him when he was in NFL Europe. Yep. So he would have to know a hell of a lot of football to be able to make it to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. So what I believe Dallas needed was every once in a while, man, you just need a fresh makeover. So just some fresh voices in the room to be able to add to what they do. What they do, they knock people back, offensive line. They do that at a high level. Ezekiel Elliott, he runs the football at a high level. It's amazing how smart the coaches got when they got Amari Cooper. So let's just give them a little bit better talent. So I can understand if Dallas said, you know something, we're going to open this up to some new ideas, 2 or 3, to help create more offense for this Dallas Cowboys. I could be for it. But just be a man and stand up there. You know, don't be talking out both sides of your mouth to be able to empower your coaches that way. And I believe Jason Garrett, a long time ago, he should have never stopped calling plays. Man, if I make my money, man, you ain't gonna never be able to stop me from calling plays. Look at Andy Reid. Eric Bieniemy, yeah, he's getting some interviews and everything, but when the Chiefs call a play, Big Red, Andy Reid is calling that play. So if they're gonna have some fresh ideas in Dallas, I can understand that. But it becomes a thing about respect and continuity. Look at the teams we have here, how much continuity they have on their staff. So that's what the Dallas Cowboys, I believe, need.
My one concern from hiring within is, do you have a voice that will say, no, ain't doing that. You can forget that garbage. We ain't doing that. And I don't know that they have that on their staff, and I don't know that anybody's been empowered to do that. And you have got to, any great team I've been around, we have had coaches. I mean, my offensive line coach, I have seen my offensive line coach call out my head coach in the hallway in meetings and dog cussing. I mean, going after each other. Like, and you think that's
to do that,
right? But you think it's crazy, but it's actually healthy. We need to challenge each other and say, "Hey, man, this is not. I don't buy this. I don't believe in this, and this is a recipe for losing football." And if you don't have that interaction, and you don't have the ability to have those kind of conversations, the tough kind of conversations, because you've never empowered anybody, everybody's just going to go, "Oh yeah, we'll do whatever you want, Jerry." Then that's a recipe to continue to lose.
And it doesn't seem like Jerry will ever bring anyone in that would be willing to stand up or that could stand up to him. All right, guys.